Questions regarding Aerius, moving to a new region. Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's no one, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report is coming from Indio, 1979. When this happened, April 2021. The drug used was Desloratadine, at a dose of 5 milligrams, the route of administration, orally, gender, male, and his age, 42. Okay, so today, we're introducing the antihistamine Desloratadine, commonly used as an allergy medication. This is far from being the first antihistamine we covered on the channel, but I do believe it is the first tricyclic. Now if you don't know, we actually did bring this up on our Patreon in a combination where a user took this along with oxys, Xans, and a handful of other meds. So today, we're getting an idea of what this substance is like on its own. Now since it's an antihistamine, you may think of Benadryl, but it's actually pretty different compared to Benadryl in terms of effects. They're used for the same reasons, that being as an allergy aid, but they're two different kinds of antihistamines, Benadryl being a first generation, Desloratadine a tricyclic. Because of this, no delirium has ever been reported with Desloratadine, thus there really isn't many reports out there on it. So today's report actually is a little different than how we've done it before. This is of a Reddit thread between two people, that being Indio 1979 and J Lows, who replies to him. They both talk of their allergies and how Desloratadine is working to combat it. Specifically, Indio 1979 starts it by looking for advice. So if you take Desloratadine or even deal with allergies, this can be a place where you can add more subjective info to the pool down below. With this report, we get a good idea of how Desloratadine can be and how it's used, and we'll break it down some more after the report. I'm sure you'll enjoy this, so without further ado, let's dive right into this. Hi everyone, I just moved to a new country and have gotten absolutely slammed by spring allergies. I was fine until the beginning of this week, then suddenly I've had some issues with a runny nose, nasal pressure, a tight chest, and some fatigue. I hate taking pharmaceuticals due to the side effects I usually deal with, but thought it was necessary due to how bad the allergies have affected me. I've taken 5 milligrams of Aerius, Desloratadine, for the last 2 nights before bed, and I wake up feeling a bit groggy and I'm having a loose stool. Maybe not related, but thought I'd mention it. Most of the day, I think it helps with the allergy symptoms, but I can feel a little achy, tired, and nauseous, so that seems to be the trade-off at this point. Not sure what is worse, to be honest. I guess whichever one I'm experiencing at the time. Smiley face. Do you find that side effects go away within a few days? Or it is what it is from the get-go? Regarding moving to a new country, do you have any tips on how to stay ahead of new pollen allergies? I'm following the pollen count online and doing the whole indoor/outdoor clothing thing, plus showering before bed. And we'll try to eat some local honey, as some say that's a holistic solution. Do you try to expose yourself to allergens somewhat, so your body can try to adapt, or just avoid going outside completely? Thanks in advance. Reply number 1. I've never had symptoms with Desloratadine, but it makes my horrible allergies compatible with life. If I go off them for 2+ days, I'm reminded how bad life is without them. If you can, try switching what time of day you take it, or take it with a meal. If your symptoms keep up after 3 to 4 weeks on it, I'd ask your doctor to try an alternative. Thanks a lot for your answer. Thinking to switch to Zyrtec, as I took one I had a little while back for a pet allergy and had no side effects. By the way, a couple general questions if you don't mind answering, as I'm actually pretty new to this seasonal pollen allergy thing. Do you feel a bit tight in the chest with allergies? I don't have wheezing and my breathing seems to be okay, but my larynx just feels a bit tight. Also, do you feel worse in the morning and at night with allergies? I do, and it's a bit odd. Kinda like with an illness. Once the sun goes down, it gets worse. Strange. Thanks again, smiley face. Reply number 2. I get stupid snotty, sniffly, and sneezy. I get more tight in my throat with pollen and grass/hay. It's equally as unpleasant as tightness in the chest when your breathing gets a little restricted, and I have never noticed a difference between morning, day, and night. It makes a lot of sense though. I'd put my money on the idea that plants put out less junk/allergens as the day winds down or gets started, but that seems to be the opposite of what you're experiencing. Maybe it's just your body waking up and winding down and being a little more susceptible to incoming allergens. Maybe it's just the fact you're busier and more occupied during the day, and your symptoms are easier to ignore. I use Zyrtec when I go home to my parents' domestic zoo and haven't had any problems with it. I've had pretty good experiences with Zyrtec and environmental allergies, but I manage better on my prescription meds, Desloratadine and Singular. Thank you again. I started checking the allergy forecast on a website called meteoblue.com, which tells you when certain pollens will be at their highest levels. Helps me plan around it a bit. I think my feeling worse at night with allergies is similar to my feeling worse at night when sick. I think it's due to the involvement of my immune system in both. Or maybe it's the allergy drug being weaker in the evening, as its power is winding down since I only take the pill before bed. Anyway, really nice to talk to someone about this and get their thoughts. I will give Zyrtec a try and maybe a nasal spray as well, and really just hope my body gets used to the new allergens, or they chill out soon. Take care, smiley face. Okay, so Desloratadine, another antihistamine we get to cover. Like I said before, this is pretty unique because it is a tricyclic antihistamine, which makes it have a much different profile when compared to diphenhydramine or any other antihistamine we covered before. What this means is that Desloratadine and its metabolites won't actively cross the blood-brain barrier, which in turn means it won't enter the central nervous system, which theoretically allows it to not cause drowsiness and the bulk of the other heavy effects that DPH can cause. For many dealing with allergies on a regular basis, Desloratadine can be a prodrug because it may not be very impactful on the body, your state of mind, and your health. Now you may have actually had Desloratadine in your life without even knowing it. Claritin is one of the most common allergy medications today. I myself had it. Claritin contains the substance loratadine, a second-generation antihistamine, and one of the active metabolites of it is actually Desloratadine. The two were made separate because it is thought that tricyclics will have fewer adverse effects to deal with, but antihistamines in general will typically act in the same way, and it's in the name itself. It works by limiting the amount of histamine that gets released because that's what happens when you have an allergic response. But Desloratadine really just separates itself because it doesn't enter the brain from the blood. So the expected effects of Desloratadine include allergy relief, of course. Specifically, this gets prescribed for nasal congestion and for hives. Outside of its main usage, it has also shown some results that it may be applicable in acne treatment. Specifically, it may make Accutane more efficient. Side effects are considered minimal, though some have been reported, as we see here with today's report. This could include dry mouth, tiredness, and possibly a headache, which tiredness and grogginess were noted in today's report. But these side effects are typically rare to come by. It may have been likely that these feelings were induced by other factors. The risk factor for Desloratadine is considered to be really low, if any at all. Reported overdoses shows that little, if anything, changes physiologically, with tiredness really being the only side effect, which at high doses, Desloratadine has shown that it can impact acetylcholine receptors, so this may be why that happens. But to add more, when considering the toxicity of Desloratadine, there have been studies done on monkeys where they've been given 810 times the recommended dose and no deaths occurred. On top of this, there is also a difference when it comes to your genes, as some may be poor metabolizers of the substance. Specifically, 16 to 18% of those with African descent have been found to be at risk for this. The half-life goes from around 27 hours all the way to around 89 hours, where the substance is thought to be 3 times as potent. But even with these poor metabolizers, the safety and risk they were at were no different than people who can metabolize it normally. To add even more to the safety profile, Desloratadine has shown to have little to no interaction when in combination, even with the stuff that you might expect there to be. It is also processed by the liver and is pretty selective of what it inhibits, so specific that this is also what builds its safe profile. But with today's report, we see that this can commonly be used by those dealing with difficult allergies, and it may not be an ideal choice for everyone. And Inyo1979 does have a follow-up post to this actually, where he notes that a lot of his symptoms were managed, like his runny nose, congestion, and even his tiredness. but he does note he experienced bronchoconstriction about a week after, which this can be an allergy-induced symptom. It could be something else unrelated to the allergies, or it could have also been that the desloratadine wasn't helping him with his symptom as much. In this post too, he was looking for advice, so any subjective experience anyone may have with desloratadine, feel free to drop it down below. But we're going to end it there for today. We covered most of what desloratadine is and how it went for this user. If you guys want to see more on this substance, or any substance at all, let me know in the comments below and we'll do that. If you have your own report you want to see, send it into NoOneSubmitReport@gmail.com or follow the link below. If you want to see exclusive reports every week, follow my Patreon, link below. And if you did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow the socials, share the video. It's been someone that's someone, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.